turn that night vision on, bro. Yeah.
Riley and Trev on the hunt, no capping. We ain't running, we ain't tripping, we just catching. What's happening? What goes bump in the night? What goes bump in the night? Creeping through the dark, something ain't right. Shadows in the trees, cold steel grip tight. Yeah, what goes bump in the night? West Coast stepping, 10 toes in the dirt. Lantern light flicker, feel the hex in the earth. Got the cam rolling, yeah, we deep in the field. Spirit talking through the box, tell me how do you feel? Hey, Trev got the static, Riley peeped the black mist. Chills in my veins like the Reaper done kissed. Ain't no cap, this a whole different plane. Ain't no explaining something, whispering my name. Hey, I hear the knock, don't open the door. Floorboards creak like never before. Eyes in the dark, they lurking, they waiting. We out here searching, the truth ain't escaping. What goes bump in the night? 100 on the dash, but the road ain't right. Lost in the fog, we ain't seeing no light. Yeah, what goes bump in the night? Big dog energy, we ain't folding or ducking. But the vibes in this house got the whole squad bugging. Demon in the attic, hear the claw mark scratch. If we open up the hatch, better pull us all back. Don't breathe, don't speak, let the spirits all talk. Wax for the reed, we been walking that walk. Up a pen deep woods where the dog man roaming. If we don't make it back, let them carve this in stone. Flicker, lights go black. Riley said he saw a shadow lurking in the back. Trevor caught a face in the EP track. Yeah, what goes bump in the night, that's facts. What goes bump in the night? What goes bump in the night? Creeping through the dark, something ain't right. Shadows in the trees, cold steel grip tight. Yeah, what goes bump in the night? Hey, you hear that? Nah, keep the cam rolling. Man, I swear something just whisper my name. Hey, Riley, we leaving or we staying? Now we staying. We need answers.
Hello and welcome to Whatgoesbump tonight.
The life after death. Yes.
Oh, what? Ooh, what the? Oh my god, am I still moving right now?
Why should we be afraid of you?
Hello and welcome to What Goes Bump in the Night. My name is Riley Clark, and alongside me, as always, is
Trevor Jensen.
And today we have a topic that you should know about because you said we should cover it, Night Crew. That includes all of you in the chat right now: Petty, those dweebs, Jess, Carnivore, Whole Foods Nugget for pets.
It's a mouthful.
And Tara, y'all suggested this topic tonight, and that is the topic of sirens and mermaids.
The water creatures, the water people creatures. I don't even know what we were going to classify this as, other than what it is.
I don't know. We'll have to dive through it, and then we can give its SCP ranking, I guess.
Yep. Is this safe or is this Euclid? So, I will go ahead and I'll give us some
whoa.
stories. Wait, actually, that's right.
Yeah, we first off
Hold
want
on.
to say thank y'all for joining us every single week. We love you
Notifications.
all for supporting us and helping us on our way to 1,000 subscribers. And we are holding to our word.
Yes,
when we
we
reach 1,000 subscribers, we are 100% going to do a polar plunge into Lake Michigan. And if it was today, we would die.
Brutal. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not going more than my knees because I know I'm going to go into straight
you're going
catatonic
under.
shock.
He's got to go
No, I'm
under.
going
Let
under,
him
but I
know.
mean, like,
He's
we're not
under.
going deep. I will literally be like, Riley, you're going to have to drag me out of this because I'm a frozen corpse right now. That is going to be a fun one, though. We are closely, like, we're screaming towards that, actually. As of today, I think we're 5 away from 800. Numbers skyrocketing.
Yeah, we're I think 4 away now, maybe even 2. So
Woo!
Shout
You
out
guys
to
are the
y'all.
best.
And thank you for joining us if you are new. But with that being said, Trevor, I won't hold you back too much longer. Dive into this
I'm
this
fucking
topic.
rip raring ready to go. No, this is a fun one though, because this is one that like lives in like pretty relatively old history, I would say. So the origins of sirens and mermaids. So classical Greek representation, a bird-woman hybrid is how they would classify that one. Don't know if I've ever heard a mermaid classified as a bird woman, but we're here for it. So, in early Greek literature and art, sirens were not just fish-tailed beauties of modern fantasy, but terrifying beings with the body of a bird and the head of a woman. That's not where I thought this was going already.
Don't worry, I have visual representation for you.
Thank you, dog. So, this form was likely inspired by, I almost said Egyptian, Egyptian and Mesopotamian hybrid creatures, which often combine animal and human traits. So, this one, I'm sure most of my fellow, I would say school people that went to school probably have known Homer's Odyssey or have
Yeah.
at least read Homer's Odyssey at one point throughout their literature classes or whatnot. So, 8th century BCE, the sirens appear as deadly seductresses living on an island surrounded by jagged rocks. Their haunting song was said to be so mesmerizing that the sailors would steer their ships towards them, crashing into the rocks and perishing in the sea. What do you think they sung? Like, if we could use any song right now, just Reba McEntire.
I think it was probably like, oh, something like that. Like
I do.
super-
That is what I think of every time
I don't know
hear
how to
it.
describe that. Like
A
like
siren's call.
bassy, like a bassy, like synthy,
I would say like ethereal.
low.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that
yeah.
ethereal like hum to it where it's got that reverberation feeling like right in your bones. So the next one is, I think this is how you say that, Hesiod's Theology, circa 700 BCE, describes sirens as the daughters of the river god, oh boy, Achilles, and a muse, often Melaphone or holy shit, these are hard, Riley. Terraspicor?
Terps. Yeah, I can't say that.
Terpscore? I don't know.
That's pretty good.
Tried it. Their divine patronage explains the supernatural voices. So, once again, ethereal voices, supernatural beings, divine patronage explains a lot, I would say. And then we also have Ovid's Metamorphosis, 8 CE. The Roman poet provides an alternative origin, claiming sirens were once handmaidens of Persephone when she was abducted by Hades. Demeter cursed them, transforming them into bird-like creatures as punishment for them failing to prevent the kidnapping. That is actually kind of rock and roll as fuck, dude.
We all know Greek mythology is the coolest mythology.
It is seriously something to behold. It's such a when you
And
really start.
I think people don't realize that the people back then believed everything that's in these stories.
I still believe a lot.
At least
of
I think they did.
these stories.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Jormungandr, the world serpent, he's sleeping inside of the earth. That's just truth. So Greek vase paintings, sculptures, and reliefs from the 6th to 4th century BCE depict sirens as winged women with talons emphasizing their avian nature. They were often shown playing lyres, flutes, or singing, reinforcing their connection to music. Yeah, I mean, like, when I hear of a siren, I would immediately think of like a woman with like fish scales, but not like a bird. Like, I guess like it's all perception based here, because like you can go either way with it, especially with what you've been taught or what you've been shown in multi-pop media. But like,
sirens are different than mermaids, though.
Well, yeah, I know they're different, but like when you think of like a bird type creature or like a woman of the water, like a siren, I immediately don't think of like a lady that kind of looks like a crane.
No,
I think of more of like a serpentine woman, you know what I mean, with like actual scales where it's like they glow in the night, like maybe
That would
not
be a
like straight up
mermaid.
fished. Yeah, well, I'm not talking like the tail. Oh shit.
All right. So sirens. I mean, this kind of goes into what you're thinking though, because there was a transition to a mermaid-like figure as Greek culture spread through Hellenistic world and into Rome. Sirens began to lose their bird-like attributes and gain more aquatic characteristics.
Fuck yeah, they did.
This transformation was influenced by various factors. Influence of other water spirits. The sirens' transition from bird-like creatures was partially influenced by the Greek Nereids or sea nymphs and the Assyrian goddess Artemis, who was one of the earliest recorded mermaid-like
Mermaids.
deities. Roman and medieval reinterpretations. The Romans softened the siren myth, associated them more with sea deities and nymphs by the Middle Ages. European art and literature fully merged the sirens with mermaids, depicting them as half woman, half fish.
So we're skewing the lines here, is what it seems like a lot. So,
Yes. Christian symbolism. Early Christianity adopted sirens as symbol of temptation and sin. Medieval bestiarius's collection of animal myths described sirens as dangerous, seductive creatures who led men away from virtue, reinforcing their link with mermaids.
come here, big boy.
By the Renaissance, sirens were almost exclusively depicted as mermaid-like beings appearing in paintings, operas, and poems, as both alluring. The ominous figure John Milton, Paradise Lost in 1667, he references sirens as deceptive
deceptive temptresses.
Thank you.
I got you, homie. It is a fucking tongue tire.
Hans Christianity Andersen's The Little Mermaid in 1837. Though not explicitly about sirens, the story reflects their themes of love, sacrifice, and tragedy.
It do that. That Little Mermaid, dog, it always gets my heartstrings going.
That's the real story of The Little Mermaid. 19th century art. Artists such as John William Waterhouse painted sirens as melodic, ethereal women of the sea, reinforcing their association with the mermaid.
So, why do you think it is that we have this blurring of like fish-like ladies and bird-like ladies at this point? Because like to me, it seems like something's going on that's fishy, pun intended. But also, like, why do we get such harsh representation of like bird-like creature?
I think it was because people were traveling the sea more now. So like when like Homer's Odyssey and stuff, like they'd traveled that little sea, but they'd never been to the ocean.
Truths. That's a good way of representing that too. Because like if you think about it in like hindsight too, where those
we're talking the 8th century. So
yeah, those Odysseys are much more like stunted compared to what we could achieve now later in days. But also I wonder if it's like, are they seeing like two different creatures though, or dolphins? Yeah, like are we seeing two different creatures, or creatures that are actual like living beings that are roaming this earth now that we're like they just misrepresented? I don't know. But then again, you have like firsthand accounts of people nowadays seeing mermaids and like being lured into the water, and the sirens aspect of it too is very, very intriguing. When you get there, they're the beckoners, they're the deceptress, they're the temptations. Like it's very weird that Christianity adopted that as well and used that as their staple to be like, this is what a temptress looks like. It's interesting. Yeah. Justice for mermaids.
Sirens in modern culture and pop popular media.
Tons.
Today, sirens continue to be a prominent figure in folklore and pop culture, often distinguished from mermaids by their more sinister nature. Pirates of the Caribbean
Love that film.
portrays sirens as beautiful yet deadly creatures. That was on Stranger Tides.
Why is the rum gone? Love that movie.
The movie Siren, or
Mhm.
TV series, pardon me.
Never watched it.
No, never even heard of it.
Mm.
Apparently, it was on for 2 years.
I mean,
2018 to
if it's got
2020.
2 runs, hell yeah. I mean, it's probably decent if it's got at least 2 seasons.
H2O, just add water and Mako.
That one's cringe. Don't watch that, please. Whatever you do, don't watch that.
I can't believe you've actually watched that.
Just shut up.
Why would you even? The title's terrible. I should tell you the movie's terrible.
I don't want to talk about it. It was bad. If I offended anybody, I'm sorry. I did not like it.
It was in The Witcher, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, Monster High, and probably countless others that were.
I was gonna say pop
mentioning.
culture. It runs rampant through pop culture now, and I think it's very much so skewed
And
because
apparently Splash. I don't know about that one either.
I've heard of Splash too. Actually, I don't know if I've watched it, but I know what that one is. Just don't watch H2O. Whatever you do, or Aqua Blue. Don't watch that one either. That one's bad too. So we can get away from pop culture because it's the audacity of those pop culture references sometimes are just so corny and terrible that
I just hope it's not the fake one that was on Animal Planet, is it?
I really hope not. I really hope not. Because if it is, I mean, dang it.
Or a spoof of that because that was a giant joke that Animal Planet paid out of everyone. They like to do that though. We all know that.
Chat's over here throwing out like tons of like actually like good mermaid things. Like Aquamarine is good. I don't love it because it's very girly. Violet
Mermaids, the Body Found. I don't know that one.
That one
Never heard
sounds
of that.
dope.
That sounds cool.
Hobby.
Those dweebs. No, it's not. It's about people who become mermaids for hobby or professionally.
See, I can't hold my breath that long.
All right. So they are real mermaids.
They are real mermaids. That's true. Yeah, no, it's very true. People are real mermaids.
I mean, okay.
Hold on.
Listen to me here. And I think
Linda.
chat will probably agree. Think we may have just figured out that mermaids are real because
No
you
matter
can be
what.
paid to be one. And you literally have a job title that says you are a mermaid.
You are a mermaid. Figured it out. But we can go ahead and talk about some real life encounters.
All right. Myth busted.
Myth busted. So there are some historical reports throughout the years, and some are really old, some are newer. There's a lot newer ones, but the old ones are the ones that are always brought up. So we'll bring up those ones. So throughout history, sailors and explorers have reported encounters with strange sea beings that resemble sirens. Some of the most famous include Christopher Columbus. While sailing near the Caribbean in 1493, he recorded 3 mermaids that were not as beautiful as they are painted. I love that. I love that quote, though. It's funny. Likely mistaken as sightings of manatees. I mean, once again, we've heard this one before. Everybody's heard the manatee story, but like,
I don't think Christopher Columbus was a very bright guy either.
I was just gonna say, but we all know he was probably about as smart as the sack of potatoes he ate.
Yeah.
So
And those
then-
probably had mushrooms growing
I
up.
was just gonna say those were probably fermented bad. So we're just gonna leave that where it lies. Alexander the Great's sister. So this one's a myth, but we're gonna talk about it anyway. So according to medieval Greek legend, Theosin-like
Thessaloniki.
like I used Nike.
Teresa Olnike.
Thessalonike. Yeah, something like that. Alexander's half sister was turned into a mermaid after her death. She roamed the Aegean Sea. I think that's how you say that. Aegean.
Aegean? I think the E is silent.
Words are so fucking hard, you guys.
Words
I'm
are
sorry.
hard in chat.
And they were asking sailors if Alexander was still alive. If they said yes, she allowed them to pass. If no, she drowned them. Interesting. So maybe it's not just like a bunch of sirens. It's just one, and she's a bad witch, and she like, yo, dog, I have my trident, and you're drowning today. And then we have the Newfoundland mermaid of 1614. Captain John Smith of the Pocahontas fame claimed to have seen a mermaid with long green hair off the coast of Newfoundland. That was it. That's all that has to it.
I just got to know, is it Newfoundland or Newfoundland?
I like Newfoundland, but it could be Newfoundland. I mean, I don't know.
Newfoundland?
Newfoundland? A Newfoundland?
I've heard people say it so many different ways.
I've heard people get offended because of it being said like that, so I don't know. So there are scientific explanations. Many alleged siren sightings have been debunked as misidentifications of sea creatures, which include manatees or dugongs. These marine mammals nurse their young above water, leading sailors to mistake them for human-like creatures. And then we have the other fun one, which is hallucinations at sea. Oh. Long voyages, dehydration, and exhaustion could have played a role in ancient mariners believing they saw sirens. I guess, but I don't know. I don't like the hallucination theory, because then you can just say everybody's hallucinating and everybody's fucking crazy. And I don't love that.
Yeah. All right. Conclusion: the enduring myth of sirens. Sirens have transformed from an avian seductress of Greek mythology into the dangerous yet enchanting mermaids of modern pop culture. Despite skepticism, their legend persists, fueled by centuries of folklore, art, and alleged sightings. Whether a symbol of temptation, oceanic mystery, or supernatural power, sirens continue to haunt the imagination, proof that humanity will always be drawn to the mysterious hidden beneath the waves. All right. So now let's talk about mermaids, because they are a separate thing.
They definitely are. They're very much so in their own right, their own creatures.
It seems weird because they're like so similar, but yet they are different.
So different. That's very true, though. They're very different, but not very so different at all. So the origins of mermaids. So mermaid myths predate written history, appearing in oral traditions and early civilizations around the world. Their earliest known origins can be traced to ancient Mesopotamia, evolving through different cultural lenses over thousands of years. Ancient Mesopotamian and Syria, circa 2000 BCE. We're still early as fuck in what we would call the world.
Yeah.
So one of the first recorded mermaid-like figures is, oh man, this is another hard one. Atargatis? Yeah, that one's easier. Okay, I like that one. The Assyrian goddess of fertility, love, and water. According to the legend, Atargatis accidentally killed her mortal lover. Overcome with grief and shame, she transformed herself into a mermaid, retreating to the sea. However, because of her divine beauty, the waters only altered her lower half, leaving her upper body human. Atargatis became a symbol of divine femininity and oceanic power, influencing later mermaid myths and Mediterranean in the beyond. I like that one. That one is also very interesting to think about, where it's like, if these Greek goddesses or these deities are real, and I do think that there is a very good chance that there may have been like deities that did walk among us that were maybe not like ascended humans, but like alien races.
Anunnaki.
That's the other thing, is like, if we're not looking at it in like such a closed eye or like a very like, I want to say like religious lens, like it could most definitely be like those are alien beings that just like happen to adapt to our living.
Well, let's talk about the mermaids around the world.
Because they're everywhere.
Often romanticized in modern culture, mermaids were historically regarded as both protectors and harbingers of doom. Different cultures shaped their own version of the mermaid. European folklore, omens of fate. In medieval Europe, mermaids were either helpful or dangerous, depending on the legend. Some describe them as wives of sea gods, granting protection to sailors. Others, however, depicted mermaids as omens of disaster appearing before storms, shipwrecks, or plagues. Notable European mermaid legends: Melusine? Yeah, that's
It looks like Melusine. It's
says
German.
it's French, so
Yeah,
yeah,
it's German French.
Melusine, a mermaid-like spirit who became the founder of notable dynasties, but was cursed to revert to her mermaid form every Saturday.
Why every Saturday?
On Saturdays.
Why is it so fucking specific? It's a water world.
Sea-like creatures that could shed their skins. Oh, the Selkies. Oh, the Selkies. Yes,
I've heard
I
of
like the
Selkies
Selkies
too.
yeah.
I've heard of these.
Sea-like creatures that could shed their skin to become
Scosh.
human. If their skins were stolen, they were forced to marry humans, a theme echoed in many mermaid myths.
These are for all you Scottish and Irish. Yeah, no, that one's interesting because it's like that's a little more hardcore, like just a little bit more hardcore.
Dude, if they shed their skin, they have to marry a human. That's crazy.
Oh, Saturn Day. That's a good point too. I didn't think about that.
African mythology, the power of Mami Wata, meaning mother of water.
I love that.
Worshipped in West Central and South Africa, Mami Wata is a spirit of water, beauty, and wealth. She is often depicted as a mermaid with flowing hair, jewelry, and a hypnotic gaze. Mami Wata is both a giver and a taker, and she grants prosperity, but can also curse those who disrespect the water.
Yes.
Some legends say she abducts humans, taking them to a paradise beneath the sea, where they return forever changed.
I love that, though. I mean, think about how cruel the waters can really be. You've experienced it yourself, too. We talked about
Mami Wata.
Mami Wata, be nice to me, please. I respect. Water is deadly.
Asian and Polynesian legends. Ning Yo, a fish-like mermaid with human features unlike European myths. Ning Yo was not seductive, but mythical creatures who flesh granted immortality.
Oh,
by
shit.
eating them also brought misfortune.
Damn. I mean, like, oh, hold on, hear me out. Would you take immortality for some type of misfortune? Would you want immortality?
No.
No. You don't think it's all that's cracked up to be?
No. You would everyone you know would always die and you would be alive.
That's the most awful part about it. But a part of me is curious
everyone you
what everything
ever
happens.
cared about will die and you will live to forget them. And that is so scary.
Because then the misfortune is that your body ages and so does your mind. So you just wither away on the fucking vine.
No, if you had immortality, you'd be stuck at the age that you are when you eat the skin, I think.
Or would it just be like your outward body?
Because if you aged, then you would die.
That's a conversation for another time.
That's some vampire shit, dog.
That's totally a conversation for another time.
Then we have the Madramante, a water spirit protector of the rainforest, appearing as a mermaid-like figure to punish those who exploit nature. That's from Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
Sedna, Inuit mythology, the goddess of the sea who became a mermaid-like entity after her fingers were cut off and transformed into marine animals.
I mean, I don't love that for her, but like, what kind of animals are we talking here? Are we getting like sea turtles and like cool shit? Or are we getting like big ass sharks and stuff?
And of course, then it's
the literature.
You know, been in literature and stuff. We're not going to bore you with all of that. You probably have read a lot of it or watched it, like The Little Mermaid. It's really, that's all we got there anyways in the notes.
There's really only like a couple interesting things. And like one is in 1998, a fisherman in Papua New Guinea reported seeing a fish woman with long hair and webbed fingers. And then in 2009 in Israel, the town of Kiryat Yam, I think is how you say that. I'm sorry if I offend, offered a $1 million reward for proof of a mermaid sighting after dozens of reports emerged. And then in Zimbabwe in 2012, local dam workers refused to continue work after multiple reports of mermaids scaring them away. So, I mean, there's still firsthand accounts of this shit happening relatively recently.
Yeah.
I mean, you can take with that what you want, because the sightings aren't super in depth. Like, hey, now's like listen to this story, which I'm sure the stories are probably out there, but like they're
I mean,
from
even
very obscure places.
Blackbeard wrote it down in his captain logs that he's seen one.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's enough events that I would classify as being interesting enough to where it's like something might actually be be happening here. And if they're on long voyages in open sea and they're seeing these creatures, what is that? Come on.
Also, who knows the last time a freaking sailor was sober? Let's be honest.
That's yep.
They're just drinking hitch all night.
Just that straight up shine. Man the cannons.
Just drinking rum all day, every day.
All day and every day. I mean, why is the rum gone? Because you drank it all.
Yeah. And then of course the mermaids have, so much symbolism for femininity.
Femininity is a hard word.
And beauty, and the ocean's beauty and danger, and freedom, rebellion, independence.
It all goes hand in hand.
Transformation, change, dealing with it, and not knowing your identity.
Fluidity.
Yeah, it's all of those things tied up into a creature, which is, I mean, if you look at Greek mythology, that is what a lot of these deities and things are, is their emotions.
Yes.
Superhero-fied.
Yeah. I would, very much so personified into a very blown up way.
Like conscious thoughts that everyone should have, in, moral standards. They turn them into these magnificent beings because it's a lot easier for people to get behind, because they can have a visual idea of what everyone's talking about. And that's kind of where I feel like mermaids and sirens kind of end up.
And speaking of ending up with femininity, I think now's a perfect segue
to add to our panel. We have a special guest tonight. Y'all have been chatting with her all night. It's Tara.
Hello. How's it going?
We're lovely.
It's going good. It's going good. We're having a great time.
Trying to wrap my brain around this.
So my first question for you guys is, do you believe in mermaids?
Yes. And I say that tentatively because I've always been the I need to see it to believe it type. But I really do think that there's something to a lot of these stories that we see in a lot of these accounts. And there's vast amounts of water we've never seen. So
I think there potentially could, because I mean the ocean's endless and forever evolving.
For sure.
But I don't think it's exactly what we think it is.
Ooh.
I agree. So if you think about how much of the ocean has actually been explored, 26% of it has been mapped, but seen from human eye, actually only 5%, maybe less.
Right. And then on top of that, seeing something like that is literally finding a needle in a haystack.
It's harder than
the ocean. The ocean's so vast, you only have limited visibility. No matter what you bring down, you bring a camera, probably gonna have worse visibility than your eyes. There's
For
just
sure.
What are you gonna do? Stare at the ocean? You're
Majority of it is pitch black. There is no light touching most of the bottom of the ocean. 71% of the world is water, and we're still finding species on land. So they're finding, even in the ocean, 2,000 species a year since 1800. So every year we find 2,000 more species in the ocean.
I should have been a marine biologist. This is bullshit. I just I saw something earlier on Instagram actually of that devilfish, I think is what it was, coming back up to the surface.
Oh, the anglerfish, yes.
Yeah, the anglerfish. And it's that's a monstrosity. What in the fucking world is that? But also beauty.
But think about it. We've been on this earth for so long with cameras that can go underwater, and no one's ever seen that before.
No, never.
one of them come to the surface and then go back down. Like, how did it do that? For one, most fish, like their stomach comes out of their mouth when they come up from like.
Yeah, because
we
it
haven't
wouldn't be
even
able to handle the pressure.
Yeah, we
because
haven't
of the
even
depth.
touched on the barometric pressures when you go down into the depths that are the fucking ocean.
Like
Mhm.
that's science breaking in its own. So like think about it. If a mermaid was similar to like an anglerfish, the way it can do that, apparently, because they do that.
Mhm.
What if it could go to those super crazy depths and then just come back
It
up?
probably can. And it probably has formed gills, so it doesn't need to come to the surface. My theory is that essentially, like if you think about evolution and you think about, you think it's linear, you think monkey, caveman, human. Like that's not what it is.
Yeah.
It's a tree. So you've
Mhm.
got like, monkeys here, then you have cavemen here, and then you have humans here, and then somewhere over here there's a lizard, and they're all connected.
Yeah, it's
It's
diverging.
so incredibly complex that why isn't there a possibility that something in our evolution went to the Marines?
Right.
Right. So it's like we came on land, we hunted on land, maybe they hunted in the water.
So would you think
And
it's more
adapted.
fantastical then, or would you think it's more like creature, like predatoristic and like creaturistic? So it's
I think
like
it's an intelligent marine species.
you think it'd be like a communal type though, where it's like they have like their own like
Probably.
yeah,
I
where they
would
have
I
their own
would
like
think they
base
have some sort
basically.
of like community the way that we would, where they kind of team up. Think about the relationship that humans have with dolphins. Why do we have that relationship? Is there a
That's
humanoid
true.
species in the ocean that makes dolphins see us as the same?
Mm.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I didn't think about it like that. That's
Like
interesting.
dolphins will just save people for no reason. Why?
Yeah, like what good is it gonna do them? What benefit do they get from that? None. And I
Mhm,
mean, maybe they're not looking at it for a benefit, like in any way, shape,
mhm.
or form. But like how you're saying, we all diverge from the same tree. Maybe
Yeah,
it's like an instinct almost.
it's just very strange. Like, I used to work with this girl, and she was from Africa. She was from
Mhm.
Cameroon, and she was like dead set on her beliefs that mermaids are real. Like she grew up in Africa, and she had like this little town that was a couple miles away from hers, and they were all convinced that the leader of this town had relations with a mermaid for
Oh
whatever
shit!
reason. And they are all like dead set believers that mermaids are real there. Like she was like, you will ask somebody and they're not going to tell you it's a mythical creature. Like they're there. They've
It's
seen
like
them. There's like
yeah.
tons of people who've had eyewitness things. And what's interesting about it happening in Africa is that there's
Mhm.
actually cave paintings in Egypt of humans fighting creatures, like humanoid creatures with tails in the water.
I didn't realize that there was hieroglyphs and like,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
that's like a bombshell news for me, where it's like that adds
Yeah.
a lot of validity.
Yeah, so they're very famous. I think they're in the Sahara. I could be wrong, but I think that's where they are. Um, so it's like because you guys were talking about the documentary on Animal Planet that they played that big prank on everybody's that
Mhm.
mermaids are fake, whatever. A lot of the stuff in there is real.
Is
So they
it
used actual real things to make this mockumentary. Um, to the point where people actually believed it. Like so many people were
yeah.
believing that this was real. And I remember like I was telling Austin Tommy about it, and I was like, yeah, there's like this, this mockumentary, like everybody says that it's like fake, whatever, but there are things in it that actually do exist. Like I want you to watch it, and I want you to think about it. And we couldn't find it anywhere. We
Yeah.
even paid for it and we could not find it. Like it's
Really?
completely just not, you guys are not allowed to
They
watch
just
in America.
scrubbed it.
Yeah, so we got it from some like sketchy YouTube channel with terrible quality or whatever, but we did end up watching it. Um,
Love that.
but I just thought it was really odd that they don't even let you guys watch it there.
Yeah, they censor the like for some reason they don't want us to know they're real if it is, which and I'm not saying it's not. It's just like I have to in good faith say maybe.
Well, I think like a big part of it is because the one thing in it that is real is sonar testing.
Mhm.
Your military was doing that, and maybe they got a lot of backlash about that with like
Could have.
killing sea creatures or whatever.
Yep.
But it was just really odd that it just was not available. Where I could just, in Canada, just watch
Just
it on
watch
Prime
it.
Video for
Yeah.
free.
That's interesting.
That's because it was an Animal
Yeah.
Planet thing. Animal Planet's got that stuff on lock. Warner Bros. Don't play around.
They're like censoring our viewership because somebody didn't pay.
What's his name? Fred Turney. He bought that money.
He bought that
Mhm.
money. That's really funny though. No,
One other
I
thing
always,
that you guys said was about Christopher Columbus and how like
Yeah.
he saw like a manatee. I searched high and low for exactly what he said. I was like, does he say anywhere that it was like a blubbery creature? Does he say anywhere it was gray?
yeah.
The only thing that I could find is he said it wasn't pretty and it looked like a man. In what world does a manatee look humanoid?
It doesn't. I always have
No,
made
it
that
looks like
distinction too.
It looks like a bulldog.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's just a big fluffy like fat dog, like
It's
sea
a
dog.
it's a water cow.
Water
Yeah.
cow is another good indication. Yeah.
So it's just weird. It's like, okay, how and then he's like, "Oh, I knew that it was a manatee because I had seen it before." If you had seen it before, why would you think it was like if you knew what a manatee was, why would you think that was a manatee?
Yeah. That's the other thing is if you know what they look like at that point in time in history, then how are you able to make that assertion?
Literally. It's like
He was a crazy
very
man.
weird.
I don't
It just
believe
doesn't make
anything that
sense.
guy.
Fermented potatoes? Maybe. I love the fact though that it's like if where they are in retrospect too is way out in the middle of the oceans or at sea, like you shouldn't be having encounters with any type of humanoid creature. I'm sorry, but
No.
like how is that fucking possible?
And there's so many and so many different cultures too. Like it's really weird when like obviously all the stories are different, but it's really strange when one person in one part of the world says we've seen this creature with a fishtail, and then in
And then
another part of the
all
world they
right,
say we've seen this creature with a fishtail, but at this point they didn't have communication with each other.
No.
Like there was no land communication.
I know, right? Like I
But
don't
it's always weird when multiple cultures talk about the same thing.
that's what I was just gonna
Even
say.
if it's
I don't get how
just
you don't
a
believe it then.
tiny bit different. It's like, how are they all talking about the
And
same
then
thing?
you start talking a little bit about how evolution, and if you even look at the Galapagos, is a good indication too. Like one side of the island, longer beaks; other side of the island, shorter beaks because it gets more sun, so they don't need as long of beaks. That's literally one island. Well, if these mermaids and these siren creatures are completely exactly how we are depicting them, and they're actually like just floating on our oceans, of course they're gonna adapt to their surroundings. They've lived there for how long?
Well, even humans have.
BCE?
Like all humans all around the world, we all have different attributes because of the places we are and our ancestors were born and raised.
Yeah, I mean, apparently I'm Norwegian, so like I just fly into the cold and I'm cool.
I'm a melting pot.
You are a hodgepodge, sir.
Yeah.
See, and I think I was a past Viking where it's like I can stand outside right now and I'll be like, it's a little cold, but
Especially-
like
I feel like Vikings had
I love
something
winter.
similar too. Maybe it was more like the Selkies a little bit.
probably
But I
I would assume.
feel like they had to have something.
I mean,
to
it's
it.
all
They
within that
traveled
same
more ocean
mythology.
and waters than any other culture.
Mhm.
Like they were in North America before anyone,
Mhm.
and they just had no way of telling the rest of the world about it.
They also didn't care to write anything down.
No, because they didn't even know about the rest of the world until they're just like, let's just go that way.
That's
And
the
then
way.
they ended up and they're just
Yeah,
going
they were
like,
looking for a trade route or something, and they found.
And they
Now
found heads and gold. And then the Catholic Church said, fuck you.
yeah.
Oh man, that's also another story for another time.
History is rich.
It really is though. Well, and that's the other thing too, is like mermaids have been around for so long.
Mhm.
Like there is no indication on how that got started, because it's not, I don't think it was just like somebody just talked this into existence. I legitimately do think people actually have run into these creatures and they're just very elusive, and that's why we don't see them very much so as much as we think we would. Or if now that our like sonars are so, I would say, pronounced and strong, maybe it's a frequency they don't like and they stick around for none of that.
I mean, you think about it
It
too.
can probably
like,
kill them.
I would think so.
yeah. I mean, what?
It
Okay.
kills whales and stuff.
Think about this. Like the cleaner, better water is probably down at the bottom of the
Yeah,
ocean.
very much so.
Mhm.
Because all of the oil and everything's going to be at the top. All
Yep.
of the pollutants are going to be at the top. They're not going to go to the bottom.
Nope.
So if, like, say these mermaids or sirens, whatever they are, either or, like, say they have like sensitive skin or whatever, like, of course we're not going to see them
I
because
got
they're not
German
going to
tiger.
be swimming around in that pollution. And
Yeah.
maybe
They're
they
probably
were
blind.
swimming.
Blind
they
too,
could be
yeah.
blind too. Yeah.
They probably have like the same thing as a lot of deep sea creatures where I can't even think of the word, but they feel instead of see.
Oh,
We were
yeah.
talking about
Lateral line.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Basically it's like a EMF transmitter. It
Yeah.
feels electrical pulses.
yeah, so most deep sea creatures have that. It probably has the ability to glow in the dark. Probably can't, like I said, blind, can't see shit.
Luminescence. Yeah.
Bioluminescents are so cool.
Yeah, it's probably super fast and mostly fish.
I would assume that it's probably a very good hunter as well. Like if we're
Mhm.
thinking it's an intelligent being as
Well,
much so as it is.
It might even be even simpler than that because there's tons of like microscopic, like krill-like creatures at the bottom of the ocean. So it might not even have to work hard.
I mean, if you sift feed or like filter feed, whatever.
Yeah, that too. It could be a filter type feeder, and that's why it can stay down.
Oh god, that gives me nightmares though. I'm not gonna lie. Like when you think about it, like living down there, it's got white eyes so it can't see, and it's like the anglerfish, but it's like fucking like humanoid.
Glows in the dark and like
It would be
pulsates.
scary to see. It would be scary to see.
I need it.
Yeah, but people in Africa believe that at one point we went to war with them and drove them deeper into the ocean.
Do you think that they have the ability, like they show in the pop culture films, about them being able to transform and grow legs and come on to land?
I don't think so. I
I
think
wouldn't think so
that's
either.
like a lover of cinema thing, right? Like
I would think so too.
we want to believe that we could be these fish people and come on land and have legs and fall in love and
Look at this.
give up our voice for a man type stuff. But I don't think so. Like it just like in terms of other creatures that they can't really do that. So I don't think it would be special in that kind of way.
Right.
But there's so many special things about it that it could have. It could very well be like a chameleon where it just adapts to everything around it. You might see it, but you're not actually seeing it because it's completely transformed. Like some of the octopi in the ocean,
Yeah.
like they can make themselves look like a rock.
And like that too. Like it's an instant change.
Exactly.
It's
So they could have
crazy.
that ability. So maybe people are seeing them but not seeing them. You know what I mean?
And who knows? Like telepathy is a real thing. Like maybe they communicate with telepathy, like Jess said. 100%.
I mean, they'd have to have some type of defense because think about it. There's hella predators in the ocean. Right. Everything is a predator. You don't live unless you're a predator.
Well, would it use tools then at that point? If it's an intelligent being, I would think it could.
I mean, there's so many things they could make tools out of.
Yeah, spears are easy to make.
And rocks and all the junk we leave behind.
I was just going to say all the fucking battleships at the bottom of the sea. Yeah, take your pick. It's endless.
Yeah, think about it. Like a shark tooth like type spear gun.
Dude, that'd be fucking crazy. They have like Tommy guns, but they're legitimately shooting shark teeth.
They have the cool. That we have. They could definitely make tools for sure. Any sort of tool or weapon, or even if they have half the intelligence we have.
This is a little bit more fantastical and out there, but like I imagine that Atlantis is literally the mermaid capital, and that's where all the mermaids live, is in Atlantis. And I feel like that's so like far-fetched and out there, but like I'm here for that idea.
I think that's because of Little Mermaid. That's
I think that's a Little Mermaid thing for sure.
But then again, if Atlantis was real and it was underwater at one point, and now it's not because it's in the what is it, like some Middle Eastern sea, they think they might have found like the circles to Atlantis because it has like canals and it looks like it had flowing water at that point. And it would have been basically underwater, but it was protected by a mountain. I forgot exactly where though. But
it does have a thing for taking like things that are actually real and making them into their cartoon.
Oh fuck yeah, they do.
So, who knows? Like, look at Pocahontas, John Smith, that's a real person.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a real person, but that movie was not really accurate.
No, it's not, but that's a real person. So they take little pieces of like what is actually real
The
and put
nuggies.
it into their little love stories and their little, their
I mean,
stories, some of them
Christianity
are
did the same thing. They said sirens.
horrible, but
Those be heathens right there. They fucking beckoning my men into their fucking homes, which is the water, and seducing them. What the fuck? They're bird women. What the fuck?
yeah, the bird thing is so weird.
It's so weird.
I feel like they're probably just hearing birds.
I think of a crane. Immediately, I'm like, they saw a crane and they didn't know what to fucking do, and they were like, it's a woman. What the fuck is wrong with you guys?
Well, apparently they think the manatees are women too.
See,
Apparently,
now
if you
we're
look at a
going
manatee the
so
right way,
extreme.
it's got a feminine shape.
We're going such extremes here. We're looking at twig cranes, and then we're looking at straight up manatees. Like, guys, what are you doing?
Manatees are cute.
They are
I would fall
adorable,
in love
but
with
it's
a
just
manatee
like
too.
those are such drastic like depictions of like if that's how they're seeing women. Like, you guys need to get your eyes checked.
Or if,
Actually,
even if it
John
was a
Smith-
dolphin, like
John Smith saw a mermaid and said that he's seen it and that was the first time he ever experienced love. So if you're looking
That's
at a manatee
adorable.
and it's so attractive that's the first time you ever experienced love. I don't know what to tell you.
Who?
John
How long
Smith.
were you out there for?
And that was the first real hand account of bestiality.
There's a lot. Sailors did terrible things to manatees.
Oh my god.
That's all true. That's all real. There's
That's so
evidence.
fucked.
So sad. Oh,
No,
you know
no
you're not allowed to touch
wonder.
them. It's illegal.
So long voyage.
No fucking wonder. It was
Yeah.
a long chat wildin'. Oh my god. Make a Disney movie out of that. I bet you won't. Oh my god. No, but we can get back on the rails. Cause like I just find it so fascinating that like how we were saying earlier, where it's like different cultures have the same depiction of it, and there's no way of them have
Mhm.
to ever been able to like say that to each other. And even nowadays, I don't think people are just getting on the horn being like, yo, you in Ireland right now? You seen a manatee? Okay. You ever seen a mermaid? Do you know what a mermaid looks like? Dude, I think I saw a mermaid.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And
Like,
then
I
now
don't think so.
in modern history, we're like, oh, they were all seeing something in the ocean. It's just a manatee. Yeah, it's a manatee for sure. If
It's
they
all
said it was a humanoid creature,
perception-based.
definitely a manatee.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why a manatee? Like, I could think of other things that look more humanoid than a manatee.
Yeah, like maybe like a river otter or something, but like they're probably not in the
Like-
ocean.
River otter, sea otter,
A sea otter, maybe.
or a seal.
I mean,
Yeah.
that too. Yeah, a seal, like a little bit smaller than than a dugong. It
Or
just,
I mean, even like a dolphin. I feel like maybe.
yeah, a dolphin
Mhm.
that like comes out of the water at just the right angle. I bet you if it's got its flippers like in, it kind of has that womanly shape.
Well, they also dance on the top of the water, right? Like they.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, I mean, they're like the most playful sea creature that there is. I think.
Although, like,
My
if
opinion.
if it's out the water doing its tail thing, going, "Ah, ah, 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 ah," I'm not. My immediate thought isn't like that's a beautiful creature. I need her.
Oh, John
like-
Smith.
First time you
did.
ever saw love.
Oh, honey. Ah, 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 ah. I guess. Oh, fuck. That's hilarious. No, but that's a good point. I didn't even think about them if they were playing outside of the water and doing their whole
Yeah.
trick show and stuff. Like,
Like, think about it. If they were like
in the
just on the
ethereal
horizon,
moonlight.
just on the horizon,
Mhm.
might.
Yeah, if you just see like the silhouette of a dolphin, just.
That's
It's funny. I like dolphins.
I just feel like they're all
yeah.
drunk. All those freaking
They're all drunk.
old sailors, they're all just drunks. That's all they were.
Yeah. I don't
But
really
then
trust their
again-
opinions when they were fooling
That's
around with the
true.
manatees.
I don't trust anybody's opinion when you're a dingle dong and a manatee
Yeah.
dog. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Your
It's not good.
credibility is completely shot at that point. Listen, you could tell me that there's a fish in that sea, and I'm gonna call you a fucking liar at that point. Oh God.
I
I
mean,
mermaids are so
they had to come up with stories about things they seen. Why not
so they just
make
spun
it
the
a little
tale.
fun, I guess.
You know how fucking tragic that would be though if like in all reality all it is the fucking sailors were like, I don't want to sound like a pig. I had sex with a fish woman. Jesus. You gotta be rough and cut as a sailor, okay?
It's terrible.
It's so terrible. Oh my God. I mean, what more is there to say though? Like mermaids are just like one of those things where I think like we really do have creatures in our oceans. Like we just don't fucking know what they are. Like
Also, like a really weird thing is we randomly stopped exploring the ocean.
yeah, that's the other thing. Like we didn't
Like,
run
what
out
did
of
they
money.
find? And then they're saying, "Oh, it's like there's aliens down there." Okay, maybe that's why. But maybe you found something else. Maybe you're lying to us.
Now hear me out. We
Mega
talked about the alien bases that are potentially inside of Lake Michigan because you can't go over certain spots. When we did our six-year episode, yeah, we did, dog. We
No, I'm
totally-
just saying we didn't even touch that.
well, we
What if
barely
they're
touched it.
fucking
We like alluded
mermaids
to
are
it.
aliens.
No, yeah, that too. Well, that's exactly what I'm getting at. Is like these bases are legitimately like alien hubs where it's like, no, they're fish aliens, like legitimately.
Potentially, we could potentially be aliens as well, because our
Oh, I've
DNA
thought that
goes
for a long
past
time.
further than how long the Earth has been around. So maybe they put our DNA on land and then our DNA in the ocean, and we're like, let's have fun. What's gonna happen?
Sprinkle, sprinkle.
Yeah, like
Hopefully we get a land and water war one day.
Yeah.
A little bit of spice and everything nice. Mojo Jojo.
Which apparently happened. Apparently there was a war, and I mean, probably was
Yeah,
so
there's
terrible
straight
that
up
they
hieroglyphs.
buried the documents of anything that ever happened.
It was burned
Oh,
in the
the
Alexandria.
Alexandria fires. Yeah, I'm fully
I'll die
set
on that
on
hill.
all of the answers that we ever needed are in that library that is no longer existing.
Because it burned to a crisp.
All because it's Caesar. Or no, Alexander the Great. Sorry. Alexander the
Because
Great.
he's pissed. Young love burned down whole fucking colonies and whole fucking castles, and tons of people die just because you're throwing a fucking tantrum. Yeah, that's what it is. We do that still.
But I mean, I don't really know where else to go with that. We want to thank you, Tara, for joining us tonight.
Of course,
It was
it's fun.
Great little surprise for all of our viewers, I'm sure. And if you haven't yet, we're going to do the plug.
Do the plug.
Make sure you like and subscribe and click the bell. And help us get to 1,000 subscribers so that we can jump in cold water and become mermen.
Mermen indeed. Mermaids are real though. Justice for mermaids. I'm just gonna jump on that.
We did debunk it earlier. Before we leave, mermaids are real. You can be paid to be one.
Hence, they're
It's true.
Potentially have your head almost snatched off by a sturgeon. Even though they don't have teeth, but
it's probably in our immediate future.
Well, with that being said, folks, thank you for joining us tonight. And remember, keep your ears and eyes open for what really goes
bump in the night. Thanks, guys.